You open the app, you swipe left, you swipe right. You type something clever and wait for a reply that may never come. For most people alive today, this is what finding a mate looks like. A screen, an algorithm, a photograph chosen to perform attractiveness rather than reveal it. But for roughly 300,000 years, your ancestors found each other a completely different way. And the methods they used were stranger, more social, more physical, and in some ways more honest than anything a tech company has ever built. So how did ancient humans actually find a mate? The answer starts not with romance, but with proximity. You could not swipe away from someone you saw every day. In a hunter-gatherer band, a group typically between 20 and 50 people, your entire pool of potential partners was right in front of you. You watched them work. You watched them handle failure. You watched them in the rain, in the cold, after 3 days without food. There was no curated version of them. There was only the actual person. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, known for his research on social group sizes in primates and humans, has argued that these small band structures meant every individual was known to every other individual in intimate detail. You did not wonder what someone was like under pressure. You had already seen it. Repeatedly. Over months. Over seasons. The version of a person that shows up on the third bad day in a row. That was the version your ancestors evaluated. But proximity alone did not explain attraction. Your ancestors were reading signals you have mostly forgotten how to notice. Smell was a primary channel, not perfume, actual biological scent. Studies examining the major histocompatibility complex, a cluster of immune system genes that varies between individuals, have found that humans tend to be drawn toward the scent of people whose immune genetics differ significantly from their own. This is not conscious. You do not think about it. Your body simply finds certain people more compelling to be near. One reason appears to be that pairing with someone whose immune profile complements yours produces children with broader disease resistance. Your nose was running an evolutionary calculation your brain never knew about. Anthropologist Helen Fisher, who spent decades studying the neurochemistry of romantic attraction, described early human pair bonding as rooted in 3 distinct brain systems: lust, romantic attraction, and long-term attachment, each driven by different neurochemicals, each serving a different evolutionary purpose. Lust drove the initial search for any viable partner. Attraction narrowed focus to one specific person. Attachment built the durable bond that kept 2 adults cooperating long enough to raise children who survived infancy. And survival was the real driver behind all of it. A human infant is uniquely helpless compared to the young of almost any other primate. A newborn chimpanzee can cling to its mother within hours of birth. A human infant cannot walk for a year, cannot feed itself for years beyond that, and requires an enormous and continuous investment of calories and protection just to reach adulthood. The energetic cost of raising a human child was staggering. Too staggering, most researchers believe, for a single adult to bear alone in an environment where food was never guaranteed. 2 adults cooperating to feed and protect one infant had meaningfully better survival odds than one adult attempting it alone. That cooperative pressure may be one of the core reasons humans pair bond at all. But pair bonding in early humans did not look like the monogamy most people picture when they hear the word. Researchers including Richard Lee, who conducted intensive fieldwork with the Kungsan people of the Kalahari Desert beginning in the 1960s, documented that serial monogamy was common in small band societies. One primary partner at a time, but partnerships that could shift over a lifetime. What held a bond together was not a legal contract. It was shared work, shared investment in children, and the quiet pressure of community expectation. Some societies also showed cooperative breeding, multiple adults beyond the biological parents contributing to raising children. Grandmothers fed grandchildren. Older siblings carried infants. Unrelated band members shared food with young children who were not their own. Anthropologist Sarah Hrdy, in her research on human cooperative caregiving, argued this distributed system helps explain why human children take so unusually long to mature compared to other primates. You were not built to be raised by two people in a house. You were built to be raised by a group. There were also gatherings. Evidence from Upper Paleolithic sites, roughly 50,000 to 12,000 years ago, shows early humans periodically coming together in larger aggregations. These sites contain items that traveled long distances. Shells from coastlines hundreds of kilometers inland, ochre from distant deposits, ornaments whose raw materials had clearly moved far from their origin. Some researchers interpret these events as mate exchange gatherings. If your band contained only 25 to 50 people, the genetic risks of sustained inbreeding were real. Meeting other bands was not just culturally interesting, it was biological necessity. So let's reconstruct a moment. You are a young adult somewhere in what is now Northern Africa, roughly 80,000 years ago. Your group has traveled for several days to reach a seasonal gathering near a river. Other bands are already there. When your group arrives, the fire is already large. You do not walk up to a stranger and present credentials. There is no profile to review. What happens instead is slower. You observe. You are observed. Over several days, you work alongside people you have never met, processing food, carrying water, tending the fire. You see how someone handles difficulty without complaint. You notice who stays calm when the group disagrees. You hear a person's voice rising and falling across the fire in the evening, and something in your body orients toward it before your mind has formed a thought. Personal ornaments, beads made from shells or ostrich eggshells, appear consistently in the archaeological record at sites from this period. Francesco D'Errico of the University of Bordeaux has argued that Paleolithic personal decoration served as deliberate social signaling, marking identity, group membership, and individual status before a single word was spoken. Display behavior was real. It just looked different. A skilled hunter returning with large game was displaying fitness, patience, and spatial intelligence. A person who demonstrated skill in preparing and preserving food was displaying reliability and foresight. Evidence of early musical instruments and ochre body decoration at sites across sub-Saharan Africa suggests that performance, the capacity to hold a group's attention, to generate something that didn't exist before, was already being evaluated as a signal of cognitive worth. And female choice was active throughout all of it. Across hunter-gatherer societies studied by anthropologists, women were not passive recipients of male display. They consulted other women. They observed behavior over extended periods, not in a single evening, but across months and seasons. They had social networks that circulated reliable information about how a person actually treated others. Your female ancestors were not waiting to be selected. They were selecting, carefully, collectively, with the benefit of long and continuous observation. Rejection existed too. In a small band, the social cost of an unwanted or clumsy advance was immediate and lasting. You would see this person tomorrow and the day after. Your reputation was one of your most important survival assets. That pressure likely encouraged courtship that moved more slowly and more carefully than modern speed-optimized dating assumes is natural. When a pair bond did form, there was often no formal ceremony. But there were social acknowledgments that carried real weight. A couple began sharing food consistently. They slept in proximity. The band noticed and adjusted around them. In a world where your survival depended entirely on your band's willingness to cooperate with you, community recognition was the only commitment that actually mattered. Here is the counterintuitive truth. Modern dating has been optimized relentlessly for speed and scale. You can evaluate more potential partners in 1 hour than your ancestor might have encountered across several years. And yet loneliness, relationship dissatisfaction, and difficulty forming durable bonds have not improved alongside the technology. Your ancestors had far fewer options. They moved far slower. They knew the person in front of them in ways no photograph or algorithm can replicate. And the bonds they formed were held not just by feeling, but by the social weight of everyone who shared their fire. You open the app. You swipe left. You swipe right. And somewhere underneath that reflex is a body built for something slower. A body designed to find a mate across 3 days around a fire, watching someone carry weight and handle cold and make the person next to them laugh. A body that was never engineered for the speed of a thumb, and that is quietly paying the price of being asked to work that way anyway.